Hey, welcome to 52 Weeks of Hope. I'm so excited to have Danielle here. She is episode 140. It's such a good episode if you haven't heard it. Danielle, I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me on and having me on your podcast. I'm Danielle. I am a multi passionate soul. I am a transformational business coach helping other business owners really be able to grow from a place that holistically helps their life, their mindset, and their business, which is really what my podcast is all about, too. So I love going after big goals. I love supporting other people going after their big goals and just creating a life that they and business that they truly love. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Yay. And I'm so excited that we're going live today and you get to talk about how to unlock your infinite power. And we get to walk through our limiting beliefs. And I know it's like, don't we ever get done with that?
Oh my gosh, right? It's one of those things. There's so many layers to it, but still so worth it every time you can continue to dig deeper and deeper. So I'm all here for that.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And it's all peeling the onion anyway. So, no, we're
Yep.
never totally done. So, all right, so let's get to it. People, they want to be their best. You want to like get to their highest level. What are some the best tips that you can give? And I'll add to it also as we're going through this.
Absolutely. I feel like one of the things that stands out for me is just knowing, like, in my own journey, as well as what I see with my clients, is so often we are always like searching for the next thing, the next secret, the next quick fix, the next, like, whatever it is. And we're always searching like outside of ourselves. And the biggest thing that I know, especially to like unlocking your power, is really that secret sauce or whatever you want to call it, that fix, like, really does have to come from within you, because it does look so different for every single person. It depends on, your own story and experiences, what you've been through. It depends on like what is your personal goals and how you define your version of success, what you want that to look like. It really comes from like what you find joy in, what lights you up, what inspires you. Like, all of the answers, all of your power really does come from within you, versus finding what other people have done, doing the same things that maybe have worked for them. Like, we can continue to search for that outside of ourselves, but we're going to continually be frustrated because that's not where you find it. It really is like using that, like, there's nothing wrong with like doing the research or seeing what worked for other people as like inspiration for finding it within you, but then really tapping into your body, tapping into what lights you up, what kind of gives you that like jolt, if you will, whether it's like the pit in your stomach, like maybe it's a feeling of just like feeling inspired, this like energy, feeling excitement. Maybe you get like body chills. I know I talk to my clients, I usually get that, like whether they hit on something that I know is important or when I hit on something for myself, like I get like chills in my body where it's like, okay, that's my sign of like, I need to listen to this. I need to move forward to this. And you have so much power within you that like you just need to really tap into that, ask yourself and listen to your body, listen to what's coming up for you, to continue to follow that inspiration, those little nudges along the way, because that's really what's going to lead you to your success, to new ideas, to being super creative and finding new ways to do things. So it really does exist inside of yourself. That's probably the biggest tip that I want to share with that.
Oh, definitely. And yeah, you have to stay true to yourself.
Totally.
But you also, like I always say, God doesn't drive parked cars. You can't sit in a corner wishing to have, I wish I had this and I wish I had that. And
Yeah,
all these people with that feeling that like life's passing them by, like life's in session. I mean, this is
absolutely.
about action. And if you're not sure what it is, journal. Right
Mhm.
on the top of the page, what would make me happy? And then just start
Totally.
writing. I mean, you could just write a question or sit and be quiet for 5 minutes and just breathe in and think what makes you happy, what makes you
Mhm.
the happiest of all, and what when you think about it, just lights you up. You can do that. You really can. I was talking to somebody about this. I listened to the best just interview yesterday. It's part of a it's not an empowering series. It's somebody who's been around for decades and decades, has just put out a new book. And so she did a whole series of interviews with some real old school meditation and just, I don't even know
Nice.
what they're just the old school ones, the
Uh-huh.
Zoom, like all just anyway. And I was listening. I didn't even know some of them, but they've been around like 50 years, like just
Nice.
a long time. Anyway, and one person had been in the whole nonprofit world forever, and she was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
She said she would chase an Iranian woman. She chased helping others the same way some people chase profits. And
Mm-hmm.
how many did she help? She said just like some people chase money, but she was chasing the numbers of people she helped, and it was all a
Yeah.
chase and trying to get there. And then she got really sick.
Yes.
For a year and a half, she couldn't talk or write but she was
Mm.
surrounded by her loved ones, and she really thought she was taking her last breath. She really did. And it
Wow.
wasn't about like the money or how many, it was about love, and it was about, and she's kind of back in it now, but she hasn't forgotten that what really matters. And
Totally.
it is about love, and it is about what's important. And so I was talking to somebody yesterday, and she's so busy, and her kids are young. Like, what's really important? Is it worth traveling this much? Is it worth being this tired? And then she's there for her friends, of course, too, who are having a hard time. And I'm like, you don't sound that happy at work. What
Yeah.
do you really love? Create that, because she is that
So
dynamic
important.
and that great. And she's in the nonprofit world. And I mean, people, you can create whatever it is that you really want. Like that,
Mm-hmm.
people, I think, are discovering that more and more.
Totally. I think that sometimes it's hard to get clear on that for yourself. Like there's so much noise, I know, just like through social media, through the internet in general, through like what other people define as their own kind of parameters for success and everything. So it can be hard to kind of tap into that if you don't know. And it can be, I feel like, easy along the way to kind of forget your focus. One of the, especially going back to like the journaling idea, I know something I ask my clients all the time, especially when they feel stuck of like, I don't even know what I want anymore. Cause like we all have experiences like that. I know I go through phases of that too. So one of the questions that I really love to ask my clients is like, what pisses you off right now? Like start there. What makes you really mad or like upset about how you're feeling or what's going on or what you don't have the time for? And just sometimes starting from that energy, even it is kind of from more of a negative space, it can really fuel the fire of like, I don't want this. It can help you gain so much more clarity that way. And then starting to transition that into, well, what could this look like instead? If this looked better, if I felt better, how would that feel? What would that look like instead to kind of regain that clarity around what they want? So I really love that question. If anyone wants like an extra prompt
Yeah,
there or is
I
having a
haven't heard it
difficult time
that
with
way.
that.
I've never heard it that way. That's different. Well, I love the fact that you were on vacation, and that's, it's when I sit in certain types of, it's when the quiet, and I go, oh,
Exactly.
that's when all the feelings hit.
Totally. I mean, that's much easier to do on vacation, right? Where it's like, I don't have anything to do and I can do this.
And
But
so
making
there,
that space
right?
is important.
And so I just got a spiral binder, and not like the nicer, and a brand new, and I'm ready like for this afternoon, and I get to just brain dump. I know exactly what I
Yes.
want to do, and you know, anyway, no, I'm not sleeping well, and
Hmm.
I am sure it's because I have so much screen time, and my screen time has to do with being on a computer
Mm,
and my work. It's part of my
sure.
work, and it's what I do, but I just really think it's affected my sleep for the first time ever. And I don't get to unlock my infinite power if I'm sleep deprived. I mean, all
Oh,
this,
absolutely.
I love sleep. Somebody that always sleeps. So for me to not sleep, I'm like, wait, that's not me. I thought I'm gonna make sure I walk 5 miles and do yoga and spin, and I'm like, no, I don't need to do any of that. I think I could just not like
You need your sleep.
to be overachieving in exercise to get sleep. I think I could just get off of the computer and give myself just to breathe And
Totally. Unplug
uh,
before bed, put
unplug.
your phone away, which I know is hard. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have email is the bane of my existence.
Same. I feel like all of us, but I know just it's good that you're aware of that and just like how it's impacting you right now and knowing what you want differently to like help yourself make changes through that. I know something that I am very just like my primary focus, I know for me is just like, I know regardless of other goals, regardless of other people, like I come first. My health, my mental wellness, like I need to come first in any capacity because if I'm at my best, then of course I can show up for my clients or I can take on more clients or I can show up good for my family or I can show up good for myself in other areas of my life and everything that that looks like. But I need to be taken care of first. So I know that that's a big priority for me and something I really encourage my clients to do is like, you need to take care of yourself before anything else. So I love that like you're aware of that and like what you need and then just kind of tweaking habits or doing things differently to help support that.
Yeah, I mean it's not off where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna tell my husband we'll just watch TV or watch a movie or like whatever, which I never watch TV. So for me, that's like that's a big deal for me.
That's fair.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, just mindless, whatever. Like sometimes you
Yep.
just need that. Um, so let's get rid of limiting beliefs. It is peeling the onion, but it always happens. And I think we talked about, like, I found out there's a top 10. There's a top 10 limiting beliefs that people
I
have.
believe that.
Yeah, right. I mean, so how do you help people get rid of their limiting beliefs or even know what they are that are keeping them stuck? Because no matter what, you're going to run into them. Here you are, you're going for what it is that you want to do, and you hit imposter syndrome. It's just a natural progression.
Yeah.
That happens.
It's normal.
Yeah, I mean, I started mindfulness meditation teacher training, and
Nice. That's
I'm
great.
doing, yeah, it's a 2-year program. And listen, anything to keep me meditating, like,
That's fair. I love that for
yeah,
sure, personally.
it's like, and we had a live. It's the beginning of it, and people are already teaching. I was like, wait, what? We just started, and I was like, oh, I'm behind. Like what? And I mean,
Ooh, yeah.
yeah,
Talk about limiting beliefs.
right,
Yeah.
right. And I thought, we just started. I mean, I've led meditations over the years anyway. It's not that, but not for
Sure.
this program. Like I'm like, wait, am I doing it wrong? Wait, what's going on? And it's with Jack Cornfield and Tara Brock, and it's an amazing program, and
Cool.
it just started. But everything that's coming up, I just go, oh, isn't that interesting? And I know that that's part of the process, right? Uh,
Absolutely. I mean,
and
that's where it starts is just like being able to just hear those thoughts, like what is coming in your mind, just like you said, which is such a great example of like,
yeah,
am
like,
I behind?
you
Like,
are, yeah.
what am I doing wrong? Am I good enough to do
I think
this?
I am thinking I can do this. There's all these amazing teachers that
Totally.
are already doing it, and all of these things that are going to naturally come up no matter what it is you start. You're a
Absolutely.
podcaster. When you start podcasting, it's who do you think you are? There's enough to who's going to listen to you, or who do you think you are podcasting, or what are people going to think?
Totally. I
Right?
mean, I think that's the best thing is just knowing, like, first of all, that this is normal, that like there's nothing wrong with you for thinking about this. Like, you're not doing anything wrong or bad. It's like, no, this is normal. Like, the majority of people, if not like everyone in some capacity, literally goes through this and like has these thoughts come up and recognizing what they are. And then just understanding that, like, this is not the truth. This is not a reality. This is literally just it's a voice in my head. It's a fear. It's a story. I really like to kind of refer to it as like this is just a story that your brain has created or like a doubt, a question, but it doesn't make it true. It's just something that is coming up. So even just that, first of all, just knowing that like this isn't real, it's just something that's coming up can be super helpful. That way it's not like this is just the way it is. I just need to deal with it and like not move forward because that's of course not what we want. But identifying what is coming up, I think is always the first step of just knowing. I like to think of it as kind of like the gremlin that sits on your shoulder, or like the voice in the back of your head that's telling you these things. Like I've heard my clients say, like the mean girl that's talking to you of
I
like,
hear
oh,
people
you're
say,
not good enough for
yeah,
this.
no more
So
mean
what if
self-talk is what my friend says.
exactly. So just like identifying like what exactly is the language that is being said right now that's like coming up. And then journaling. Journaling is a great tool. Meditation, I would say, is a great tool, or just getting quiet to like hear that and understand what's coming up. And then journaling to just write down and identify like what is this story? What is coming up for me? And just like acknowledging that. And then there's so many things that you can do to like work through this limiting belief. I know I have a lot of different tools that I work on with my clients. One of my favorites is actually I do a lot of like CBT work for coaching, not for therapy, but kind of the same idea of like really consciously and like cognitively. So like using your brain to like think through and break down, why is this true? Like, where did this belief come from? What proof do you have that supports that this could be true? And then going back through and kind of knocking out reasons of like why this is no longer valid, why that's not like a solid logical response or something, like really knocking this down. And then starting to rebuild, like choosing to rebuild a new belief. So, like, if the thought is like, I'm not good enough, and you have evidence to support this, then going through and like knocking out why that's no longer valid, and then deciding that you are good enough, or that I'm more than enough, or kind of whatever, either like new mantra, affirmation, or just like belief, like however you want to think of it, what you want to instill, and then how you can start to already prove it right with like evidence that you have right now. And then your brain naturally will continue to work to find new evidence to support this. So like I like that as more like of a logical kind of, especially if you're like a type A person or someone who likes to have a lot of control around this process can work really well for you, because it can feel like you're doing something to actually like break through this limiting belief, versus some of the other modalities and everything that I use, like NLP, RRT, like some of these other kind of more subconscious ones. I always kind of preface it and say, like, these are really great tools, but they're never a kind of a quick fix, if you will. Like, it's not like a one and done type thing, but it can be a really good way to just kind of scramble your brain a little bit of like breaking down the like actual neuro pathways that have
Yes,
created this.
which is
And
so
just like, exactly. And just like offer you a new idea or offer you a new perspective in what is continually coming up. Usually a belief is created because it's become a pattern. It's like over and over we've thought this, or we have evidence to support that, like, hey, maybe this is true, that I'm not good enough, or that I'm behind, or whatever it is. So kind of scrambling your brain to like break through those patterns can help, just like, oh, well, maybe I never thought about it this way. Like, what if I thought about this certain experience in a different perspective, in a new light, and kind of like reframed it differently to help you prove a new belief that you want, right? Like, there's so many ways that you can do it, which is amazing. So I know I love, that's like, I would say one of the primary things that I work with clients on, regardless of what they're doing or what their goals are or what they're going through. It always comes down to limiting beliefs and how we can break through new layers, new peel back the onion, find new things, and just really help them move forward in a new empowered way.
yeah, definitely. And you have to feel the feelings no matter what they are. I mean, leaning into
Unfortunately, yes.
it. Yeah, I know. If there's a way to dance around them, like,
Right.
all right.
But that doesn't help you. So like we know that, like,
You have
feel it, acknowledge it, move through it.
yeah,
Don't just like avoid it, because that's not
and
helpful.
and it feel where it goes through your body, because it's going to move
Totally.
through your body and come out, and just that creates new neural pathways. So, which is
Absolutely.
so interesting. So I
I
love
love like the somatic side of it too, because
that.
all of these, like, they do live in your body. The way that you can like, I always like when I'm doing an exercise, especially with the clients who are really more tapped into their body, of like, how can we work through breaking through this? And then like have you get up and like shake it out, or just like get those feelings out of your body, move that energy through
Mhm.
before we kind of go into this next step. Like everything just exists in your body in energy and everything, just how it works. And like, I think it's so important for both like the mind and body and how they connect and everything. So just
Yeah,
throw that in there too.
you made me think of the breath work. I've had some breath work
Mhm.
on different episodes, and in fact, there's one on the Facebook group page that she really went into it, and she did a whole thing. Yeah, she's
So powerful.
really, really worked through everything. So that one's just kind of lives on there. That's what you just made me think of.
I
So
love that.
yeah, I know. I've gotten such an education from different people. I
I'm
think
sure. I know.
it's pretty amazing. So, any last words? I mean, anybody can go and listen to all of your pearls on the episode, which is so good. I got to listen to it again, and I just loved it. And of course, all your links are listed. Um, any last words for anybody and thanks anybody who's listening to the recording.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, thank you for having me on your podcast, first of all. It's truly an honor, and then just having me live here, I could talk about this stuff all day long, but just to anyone listening, like, again, like, you don't realize how powerful you are, and it really does come from all of the inner work that I know is the hard work, that literally is the work. Yes, taking action, but, like, really doing that inner work and acting from that new state that you're able to just empower yourself through changing your limiting beliefs, through growing and doing peeling back the onion and just like really understanding who you are, what your power is, what your unique traits and skills and everything are, and how you get to use that, and just like what lights you up to just create whatever you want in the world, whether it's through a business or just in your life. You can literally create anything, and I just so full-heartedly believe that. So you are
absolutely.
more powerful than you know.
Yeah, everyone has their own unique handprint. Nobody can do what you can do the way you can do it. So this was so
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah,
So much for going live. Anybody who wants to reach
absolutely.
Danielle, all her links are listed. Don't forget to subscribe, and can't wait to see you back for our next live event next week.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.